What's up, Nerd Crew? Nurdie J here, and today we are going to take a look at Transformers that have been snubbed from the Transformers Generations line so far, and this time we are going to be taking a look at the Unicron Trilogy, which includes Armada, Energon, and Cybertron. So, without further ado, cue the intro! Starting off for Armada is Blur. Blur, I believe, was a fan favorite back when Transformers Armada was around, and I know I had the toy, and over in my area at least, I don't know if this was a distribution thing, but he was constantly in stock during his debut and post, even like midway through Energon, he was still available in certain locations, and he was constantly out of stock too, so I know that a lot of people were buying him. But, I have one big issue with this guy, and it's not the 80s style shoulder pads, it's the back. The back was also, like, really hard to get in from, if you didn't have the minicon. The wings just stayed in car form, so you just had a big chunk of car on his back. And so I would like to see an easier, like, more likely it's going to be a peg system or a clip system to transform it. But with that, I would also like to see armatures and ball joints or else hinges in between like the segments of the wing pack, so that you could also like articulate it at least enough for posability. He would be a really good toy, and they did come out with a Cybertron version. That's probably going to be at the tail end of the list here. And the thing is that he was also like re-released for Universe as Swerve, so that'll be in a future video. And ultimately, it's like I would also like to see this guy as a weird take on a IDW Drift. I know this is a speed car because he is Blur, but I would kind of think that Drift kind of would be in this kind of car too, if he could take a more modern take that's not Cybertronian, or like I can't even remember that Initial D vehicle. So, you know, that's kind of where the fandom is. It's either he's Cybertronian or he takes a G1 mode. I'm like, why not this one? Representing the Decepticons this time is Cyclonus. Cyclonus, to be honest, I did not like the toy. The toy kept on just falling apart. I bought him multiple times, multiple iterations, like the Buzzsaw, Beast Wars homage Buzzsaw version in Cybertron. And honestly, it's just, he didn't look very good as a helicopter in my opinion, because he had these big robot legs on the back, on the bottom, that didn't serve really a purpose. They weren't like imitation skis like G1 Royal had. He didn't have any landing gears. And his fist just stuck out like a sore thumb, and the spinning gimmick didn't work. So, I would like to see a better take on this guy. With full articulation, take away the gimmickry, because he had like, what, at least 3 different gimmicks in his initial toy. He could combine with his minicon, and become a different type of an attack helicopter. He had launching missiles. And then I think he had like something reciprocate. I think it was his helicopter blades could reciprocate. And so essentially take that all the way. And essentially just go for a really good toy with more transformation, where he would have like flip in hands. The head would probably have a panel that would slide up and over the back of his head, so that's not visible. And I would also like to see his legs probably transform a little bit more, so you would have like landing gear or something. I know it wouldn't be very accurate, because everything has to be show accurate now, but at the same time, if they did it, I don't know if I would buy it, but if they did, like, especially with the leg gimmick, where he would have like fold-in tires or something, now you're kind of talking. continuing with the Decepticons, I know this one's a fan favorite, and I don't know why Hasbro has not come out with this guy, because he has been championed for such a long time by the fandom, and nothing. So, where's Demolisher? Honestly, I love this toy. I like the character, too. The only issue I had with the toy itself was that the legs just look backwards, the lower legs. Once you get past the knees, yeah, it just looks like he has heel spurs for his actual feet, and then he also has actual feet for his heel spurs, which I'm like, why'd you guys design it that way? So I would like to see, beyond the normal articulation, the option of a swivel joint that allows you to rotate the legs, so they're more, like, stable looking. Sorry. The thing is that I don't know what else you could really do with him, because he was already like an amazing toy. Just more heightened articulation, and yeah, give us that option. This one I am including just to like fill out the ranks from the cartoon, and this guy and his predecessor form. Yeah, pretty much that's really it. And that is Hoist. Hoist, I would like to see redone like they did in Cybertron as Longwreck as well. But I would totally avoid the Dinobot version, because it made no sense with that one. That might be part of a video for future reference on Transformers I didn't see the point of. Anyway, the thing is that I think it was a really good toy. I can definitely tell that it needs an improvement, because that whole big, huge arm can't really do much with it for posability. It's always kind of just stuck in that weird position because it is an excavator. But then also it's like, if he doesn't have that weird minicom port in the middle of his other hand, I think what could have been done was that they could have maybe like did a claw hand or something that folded up better, and it was an actual hand, not like this, and it would be able to close, or else it was closed. And instead of this weird big opened mitt. But honestly, I think it could use a good bit of love. So, we got the Commander Class Optimus Prime from Armada. These two next ones are kind of like, where are they as well? Because Jetfire, big, huge character, was featured a lot in the anime. So far, not even a peep of a possibility. Even though, ever since that Optimus Prime did come out, there's just been like this big clamoring, not as much as like Demolisher, but, you know, there has been a lot. And he does combine onto Optimus. I know that it would probably take like a lot of engineering, but I still say it'd probably be worth it, even if he's a small Titan class like the Star Convoy that's coming out. I just think, you know, we need to complete that set. Moving on to the one that I'm pretty sure was never featured as an actual character. The only time I remember seeing him is only as the shoulder blasters for Super Mode Optimus Prime, and that is Overload. Overload, I think, harkens back to two things from the 80s Transformers toy line, and that is a Target Master and also a Headmaster. I think what we could do is forgo the traditional Titan Master Headmaster gimmick, unless we want it to be also like a Sentinel Prime type thing, where it's a smaller character going into a bigger character. I'm not for that, but if that's what they do, that's what they do. But at the same time, it's just that, honestly, I don't know if I would set this as his own character like they did in Armada, but I don't know how they would do it otherwise. But I just really like that toy so much that I had the original, but that kind of ultimately broke because of just fragility. But I do have that Korean reissue where, well, it wasn't even a reissue, it was just a standard Korean release of the Japanese take, and it's been holding up really nice, but I know that it could use a lot of more articulation, better joint posability-wise, and I think he's also due for an update, even though he was only featured in the cartoon as shoulder cannons for the Super Mode Optimus Prime. So this one here is the only one I'm going to put in the actual list, mainly because the first edition of the toy already came out. But where is Powerlink's Optimus Prime? A simple, straight-up repaint. And if we ultimately do what we did with Hotshot, and he had a Powerlinks form reproduced, Optimus Prime's there. You could use the update. And so, essentially, I would like to see this along maybe, I don't know how you would do it, but, maybe an expensive 3-pack. But have him, Jetfire, and Overload as an option, or, have them all 3 separately, because, honestly, I'm not fond of the color scheme of the Powerlinks mode. I don't know how popular it was, but it just kind of makes sense, so people can get that mold, because already it seems like it's scalper prices already, even on Amazon and stuff. So I think another release of this toy, instead of just being a straight up release, give the people another option out there. This one was teased on the box art of, I believe, Titan Tidal Wave. And I'm surprised they haven't done this yet. Maybe there was some kind of backlash about him being a typical Seeker mold or something like that. I don't even know what the picture looked like. And it was really tiny. But I did watch it was a YouTuber, and it was Sykes Podcast. That's right. Proto Man was doing a thing on it. And usually when they tease something like that, even though it's small, they usually at least say, hey, this is, it's in the works or something. That's actually what happened with the Commander class Magmatron. You saw the tusks of the big convoy, and he's kind of slated to come out at some point soon. And yet, where's Thrust? Honestly, I can't see him as a secret mold. He is too unique for that. What I would like to do, though, if they did do an original mold, because there are options for them, like the Power Links, there's also the Universe, I think it was Sunstorm. So there are options for straight up repaints. And also you could probably retool it if they wanted to expand the Studio Series into the Gamer Edition line, both kind of merging into the movie ones. There is a character that looks exactly like him. He's one of the drones. So, you could retool him into that. But I would also give the people the option of not just having the thrusters as his hands. I would actually like to see, the thrusters be able to rotate in and maybe give him, claw hands to represent the thrusters. But on the way he is currently, there is no way of him holding anything, except for blast effects, which is fine. But it's if you want him to wield a weapon or something, it's you have to pretend that he's actually holding it with the constant reversal and thrusting of his thrusters, just to try and keep it balanced. So I would like to see it have an option for that at least. So another one that I'm including, because we just got the toy, and I haven't heard anything about an option for this. There could be. I just haven't heard about it, or just don't remember. But I'm including Red Alert. Powerlinks Red Alert, to be exact. I'm not a fan of the color scheme, but since it is his Powerlinks form, and it was featured in the cartoon, you did it with, like I said, with Powerlinks Optimus Prime. You did it with Hotshot. Also, I would also like to see the movie line Inferno done up in this style. Because, honestly, I think that's a way better Powerlinks mode than his actual Powerlinks form. And I think there's this blue one. I think it's Energon Prowl. Instead of Red Alert, he's going by Prowl for some reason. Yeah, I can also see that as his alternate Powerlinks form if you don't like the original Powerlinks, but I would like to see all 3 of them just being as a repaint of that mold. So, moving on to the series' version of Punch Counter Punch. Or, I guess you could say that series version of Double Dealer, in a way. And that's Scavenger. Scavenger I really wanted when he came out. Thing is that I always just held back, mainly because the gimmick. The gimmick made the toy suffer greatly. He had this faux walking ability, or it was a faux stomping ability. Either way, it just made the toy not look as good as it could have been, and it suffered because it had to also figure out how to be stable. I would like to see another shot taken, and maybe make him, maybe if he can't do a leader class, but make him a large Voyager class on top of that, and I would definitely buy it at that point. Okay. This one I was trying to avoid including, but since he's Hot Shot's underling, gotta include him. And that's Sideswipe. Not spelled traditionally as one word. No, it has to be two words because edgy? I don't know. The thing is that I had this toy before I even knew who before Sideswipe was as a character. And honestly, if I knew what he was as a character, I wouldn't have picked him up in the first place. But I bought him on clearance back in the day and subsequently lost him. The thing is that his gimmick it's just terrible. All it is like this weird articulated punch. And when you have him in out mode, his just like the front half of his card just extends. And I'm like, that is just really stupid. And it just makes, because his arms are the thing that's punching, just makes everything else suffer greatly for it. And also it's like, I would redesign the legs. Honestly, he needs more definition in the legs instead of these weird pylons that have feet sticking out. I didn't like that. I would also have the roof. Sorry, I want to call it a hood, but the roof of the car, I want to see be able to collapse onto the legs, because the thing is that the way they stick out, even if you include articulation, they're just going to get in the way. And if they do decide to make it out of clear plastic, because for some reason Hasbro swears by clear plastic for windows and stuff, they do need to get away, because otherwise it's just going to be a disaster. Honestly, you would also have to slim down the arms because he's got bad Popeye syndrome currently. And finishing Armada is Skywarp. Now, Skywarp, I don't know why they haven't done this yet, because they did technically, well, Takara technically came out with Thundercracker, which is the Power Links version of Starscream. I don't know why America couldn't come out with him, just maybe a slightly different color of blue, and then give us a silver face and call him Thundercracker like they did back in the day. You know, and then you would have the option, at least obtaining that version. But that's neither here or there. This is about Skywarp. Skywarp, I would love to see being done. And not only that, because I think it's a really cool color scheme, I want to see that antenna on his forehead be able to, like, be on a hinge and fold, like, within the head thing while in jet mode, just so that it doesn't look like he's an RC jet. And then I would also, like, include a faux version of his Minicon, just not like as an attachment or anything, it's actually molded on, because I kind of like that silver hit in the back of the jet as a tail wing topper. I don't know what that would be technically called, but I kind of like that design. And as far as I can recall, I've never owned this toy, but from seeing pictures, he's not the best of Micromasters anyway, but would also be kind of a nice homage.